Good morning and welcome to the June 28, 2021 workshop of the Orlando City Council. It is nice to see visitors in the chamber after about 14 months. Great to see everybody this morning. Okay, today we're going to have a workshop updating us on our economic development organizations throughout the city. We partner with so many great organizations to help make our city a very business and entrepreneur-friendly city, and we want to make sure that people that want to start a business can do it easily and have access to tools and guidance. So we're going to begin today with Sherry Gutch, our Business Development Division Manager, and then she'll introduce a number of entities that we partner with, and we'll hear from them as well. Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you. Thank you for having us today. We have a rowdy bunch in the crowd, so we're excited to be here. It is a pleasure to be here in person with all of you and 6 of our economic development providers. It has been almost 4 years since our last workshop with our providers. A lot has happened since then, including a global pandemic, which led to some shifts in business strategies and models, which you'll hear about today. And as a central city in the Central Florida region, the City of Orlando is a leader in business development initiatives, assistance, and growth. With your support, these organizations are able to serve our community on a broad scale, from small business to large business development. So each organization today has 10 minutes. I know it's not a lot of time, but we're going to try to fit it in. And then after that 10 minutes, they have a 5-minute Q&A. So we're going to put everybody on a timer because I know we tend to go long, and you have city council at 2 and you need to eat lunch. And so we're going to kick it right off. Our first presenter today is the National Entrepreneur Center, Jerry Ross. Jerry is the president of the NEC and a lifelong entrepreneur. In 2007, Jerry was selected as the president of the NEC, and I was actually at the city at the time and remember that. It was a long time ago. The NEC houses 15 support organizations which have coached and trained over 120,000 entrepreneurs since its inception. In his free time, Jerry is a board member of Leadership Florida and serves as a board member of the Orlando Minority Business Enterprise Board. So with that, I'm going to welcome Jerry up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, we'll pull that out. The National Entrepreneur Center was founded in 2003 as economic development through small business development. Small business has big impact on our economy. Small businesses produce, according to the Kauffman Foundation, most new net jobs that are created in an economy from businesses less than 5 years old. 98% of those businesses have less than 100 employees, but the problem is 50% of those businesses fail in the first 5 years, typically due to not having enough capital and not having enough technical assistance to get started the right way to stay in business. The stages of business that are identified through youreconomy.org are the self-employed folks who are sole proprietorships or have one job, small businesses, 2 to 9 jobs, including proprietorships, small, medium enterprises that create 10 to 99 jobs, mid-sized businesses, 100 to 499, and large. The reason I go through those is when you look at this chart, most businesses have less than 100 employees. If you look at the first chart, that's the number of organizations that fit into those categories. And so 98% have less than 100 employees. But when you look at the number of jobs created, that small percentage of large and mid-sized companies produce a lot of jobs here, about 40%. But those other 60%, or those other 98% produce 60% of the jobs here. So it's a lot of small businesses. They are producing jobs, and it totals about 60% of the jobs here locally. So anything we can do to meet a small business where they are and move them forward, we get an exponential increase in jobs. And that's why Orlando led the nation in job creation 4 years in a row prior to the pandemic. That wasn't a surprise, that was a strategy. Orlando's strategy was collaboration. In the room, you have lots of organizations that are working together, from entrepreneurs and small businesses engaging to the public sector, who is funding our efforts, the private sector, who are also funding the National Entrepreneur Center, but also small business development groups, the university, the entire community. Communities travel from all over the country here to say, how do we do Orlando? And I say, it's about collaboration. The center was founded in 2003 as an idea to say, how do we make things more efficient and reduce duplication? It's one shared facility with 15 business support organizations, all sharing one center. We don't have 15 receptionists, we don't have 15 conference rooms, we all share. There are 13 local investors providing free one-on-one coaching, low-cost business education. Resource partners that do the work. These are the folks that are on the front lines of helping our small businesses every day. Those are the organizations that do share the center. They agree to work together, they agree to collaborate, and they have done amazing work. 15 organizations, one location, working together. I'm from a big family. I have 11 brothers and sisters. And so it's Joe, Ann, Tom, Sally, Susie, Danny, Pat, John, Mike, Jerry, and Brian. And so we find a way to work together. But I used to have brown hair too. And so that doesn't mean we all agree on everything. We work together. The center is funded by our community. And so these are the investors that provide the operating funds. Orlando, Orange County, Disney, the university, all of them say, if we fund together, we leverage our community dollars through multiple nonprofit organizations, at the same time reducing inefficiency and reducing duplication. And then COVID-19 happened, and that was a big pause. But our resource partners from the National Entrepreneur Center pivoted to online training and online coaching and provided hundreds of online training events, coaching thousands of people through Zoom and WebEx. We worked with the county as they distributed over $68 million in grants to small businesses. Our team worked together, all of our resource partners, and provided application reviews for the county to speed that process. Our staff members, members from the African American Chamber, the Asian Chamber, SCORE, and the Florida State Minority Development Council all came together to say we will help process these applications quickly. They produced over almost 4,000 application reviews, which resulted in $15,870,000 in grants approved, and that was about 23% of all the grants that were approved. We also launched our podcast, Everybody's Business, to say this is another way to reach people while they're working from home. It was kind of entertainment, business tips, but interviewing entrepreneurs about their journey, which provided a way for people working from home that were tired of Zoom to have another way to connect. We launched NEC Online in partnership with the first 3 months. We arrived at about 600 users of that platform to say, you can go online anywhere, from anywhere at any time and connect with education. We didn't have a library of online learning resources, and so we looked around and said, who can we quickly provide online access with? And that was the Lonely Entrepreneur. That partnership came together, we launched the program, and we had about 600 people engaged. We added 2 new investors while everything was shut down, and that was Bank United and Fifth Third Bank. They joined the other investors at the center who pay for the conference rooms, the training rooms, and the technology. We also added a new resource partner, which was the Pride Chamber, that provided services for the LGBTQ community. And so even in a shutdown, we didn't stop. We just pivoted like most of the small businesses were trying to do that we're trying to help. 2021, we're talking about recovery, rebound, and reopening. We've worked with the city and the county and all of our partners to say, how do we reopen smart and safely? We've received funding from Orange County to provide place-based training. And so that will be training that's provided in the community centers, much like we did with Commissioner Burns early in the year. businesses are looking to get out, they're looking to get connected, and this was a way for us to meet them where they are. The ideas for the 2021 funding from the county was to focus on mobile businesses and food trucks, to say, how do we get those businesses to begin looking at possibly providing bricks and mortar locations to grow their businesses. We also looked at salons and barbershops, nail salons, hair salons, to say, these are all independent entrepreneurs. How do we help them grow? And dial 311 for business. We have a bricks and mortar location. In my next slide, we're going to talk about the next digital step. But there are folks that don't have access to internet. And so we are working with the Orange County 311 operators to train them with a decision matrix to say, even if you don't have internet, even if you can't get to the Entrepreneur Center, pick up the phone, dial 311, and you can get directed to the resource that can help you. Arriving in September will be BizLink Orange, which is a software digital platform that was first launched in Kansas City called KC SourceLink. It's in 70 cities, and thanks to the grant from Orange County, we're bringing it to Orlando. That will link entrepreneur support organizations in 6 counties. So anyone can go online digitally, they say, here's what I'm looking for, and it will connect them to the list of resources they can use. They can click on that, connect directly, or they can say, I just don't know. And they will be connected with a hotline to the National Entrepreneur Center where we will direct them to not only just the resources at the Entrepreneur Center, but the resources around 6 counties. Hot links, user guides, online training, all of that will be brought here through the KC SourceLink software entitled BizLink Orange. The National Entrepreneur Center has proven that working together helps. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together over the last 18 years was progress. Working together is success, and that's what we found here in Central Florida. We all work together, and collaboration makes sense because entrepreneurs are the answer. So I invite you to visit us online. We want to support you. We can't do what we do without your support. And so we thank you for the past support that you've given, and we thank you for allowing us to work together with you to serve the entrepreneurs of our community. And I'll take any questions that you might have.
Wow, that was excellent with 16 seconds. You must have practiced that. So,
A few times.
Jerry, I know that you were one of a kind when you started. Have other communities, not caught up, but duplicated or?
We
Follow.
have had several communities. Anaheim has been here, Las Vegas, Northern Virginia. Most of them come in, they do the tour and say, how hard can this be? And they go home and they try to do it themselves. And one of the things that all of these, but we make it look easy because we work together. So if it starts from the community where they say, we want to work together to make this happen, it can happen. And that's what happened here in 2003. Most of those communities go home and they say, we want to do it, but only with this group or only with that group. And it doesn't work unless we really collaborate together.
Questions? Comments? Commissioner Stewart.
Jerry, thank you for everything you do. It has been an honor to watch you. I get to talk first because you're in my district, and I love having you there. I love having you bring some excitement to that corridor over there. So thank you.
We're just getting warmed up.
And one of the important things that you've done is reached out to the nonprofit community as well, in terms of their entrepreneurship, and that has been vital. And we ought to do that more, especially now at this time where the resources are very tight for them. So I'm at your disposal to help any way I can. So great job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just want to somewhat echo Commissioner Stewart's sentiments, and especially during this pandemic, Jerry, for you and your organization and the partners, but especially you all taking the lead, especially with many of our small minority and African American small businesses when it came to the PPP. Many of them did not have many of the documents, nor had the wherewithal to try to put those documents together so that they could actually qualify for the PPP, and I know all the efforts and hard work that you all did to help them actually become a true legitimate business, because they were working.
Right.
But many of the documents and the forms and their taxes and different things was not up to date, and they were able to survive because of your efforts, and now become sustainable and have a bona fide business. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you. And that was one of the things that we identified through that process, is that maybe we need to do a better job of training folks on getting certified and getting their tax permits and those kind of things. So that training is now in the works.
Thank you very much, Jerry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jerry. Our next speaker is from the Orlando Economic Partnership. Unfortunately, Tim Giuliani is sick. You know, I guess the crud is going around now that people are out and about. So Sharon Smoley is here today to back him up. Sharon serves as the Vice President of Advocacy and Public Policy for the OEP. In her role, Sharon is responsible for creating policy on behalf of Central Florida's business community within the 7-county region. She also leads advocacy efforts and strategy on a local, state, and national level. Come on up, Sharon. I think she only saw the presentation 10 minutes ago, so.
Thank you, Sherry, and thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for having us here today. Again, I do apologize for Tim's absence. You get the B team today, but hopefully I can do it in less than 10 minutes. So first, I just want to thank you for the partnership that we've had with your business development team over recent years. And I know this year with a lot of the, or rather last year with the pandemic, it was more important to have that really strong partnership. So we have certainly thrived and evolved because of that, and I just wanted to say thank you. As we get started, we just wanted to give you kind of a brief data point for what the region looks like today. Consumer spending is up more than 16% in Florida compared to the pre-pandemic baseline. It's also above pre-pandemic numbers in every county in our region. This has contributed to the renewed job gains seen in the region, and most jobs have returned since the start of 2021 have been in the leisure and hospitality industry. Roughly 38% of the jobs lost since the height of the losses in May of 2020 have returned to the region, but you can see from this slide what the trajectory has looked like over the last 15 months and how far we still have to go to reach the pre-pandemic unemployment rate. The unemployment rate is currently just under 6%, which is about 2.5 percentage points higher than it was pre-pandemic. Another factor to consider is that we've got 1.3 million in our regional labor force, which is shy of what it was pre-pandemic. So we still have a ways to go to get back to pre-pandemic workforce numbers. However, what we are seeing is that those who are looking for jobs are being actively searching for a new job. So that's certainly positive. Diving into the programs that we have worked on over the last year, a couple of things that we launched. First was our COVID-19 website, which had resources, tools, and data for any businesses looking to navigate through all of the different programs that were arising through that time. We also launched our BRACE program, which stands for Business Recovery Assistance and Collaborative Engagement. BRACE was designed to address an overwhelming demand and increase in phone calls to the partnership from local businesses looking for assistance in navigating the COVID-19 resources, both from short and long-term recovery efforts. Our team of ambassadors to date have assisted more than 600 businesses, including more than 400 self-identified minority-owned businesses. Another thing that the partnership did last year was a marketing campaign, which many of you may know of, the Safer, Stronger Together campaign. We did that in partnership with Orange County's Economic Recovery Task Force, and it was sort of encouraging the community to do your part. That has evolved into a vaccination campaign to encourage community immunity. Last year, we also started the diversity, equity, and inclusion effort involving our local companies as they commit to making changes within their organizations that focus on raising the growth potential of residents by creating opportunities for those long affected by racial inequity, by ensuring pathways for participation in the economy. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute as we address upskilling in the region. But other initiatives that we launch include Tech Connect and our Women's Initiative. Our Women's Initiative is run through the Chamber, and it provides needed resources for women and minority-owned businesses with the tools they need to build the future they envision themselves in. So talking about upskill, we have spent significant time on this program. Since last year, we partnered with JP Morgan Chase to pursue a strategy for the region that generates value for both employers and workers, or applicants rather, by creating skill-focused job descriptions and evaluating candidates based on a distinct skill set versus experience. So the benefit of skills-based hiring is it helps fill jobs quickly, which our employers are looking to do. It retains talent, it diversifies an organization's talent pipeline, and it provides greater awareness of skill attainment and critical upskilling needs. So to the numbers and the city of Orlando. Over the past 5 years, we've worked to announce 36 projects for more than 2,896 jobs in the city of Orlando, with more than $572 million in capital investment and an average wage of $56,000, an annual payroll of $162 million. So that doesn't include the most recent projects from this year, but this is our last 5 full fiscal years. Overall business development results in that same time frame for the region was around 121 projects, over 19,000 total jobs, and almost $2 billion in capital investment with an annual payroll of a little over $1 billion. The impact of this work is first and foremost creation of jobs for our citizens. Second, it's the tax revenue that results when an existing company expands or a new company is recruited here. I also want to touch on our Strive program, which was developed really in partnership with the City of Orlando, and it's already seen quick results. It's increasing the City of Orlando's competitiveness for new projects immensely. That's just a number of the projects that we have landed because of this program. So just by way of some numbers there, Assured Partners, 100 new jobs to the City of Orlando. Lilium Aviation, 150 jobs. The Sonesta International Headquarters, which they will be having an event here in town tomorrow to celebrate their opening, close to 100 new jobs. Illumi, most familiar with KPMG, another 350 jobs, all because the City of Orlando came together to help implement this program. Next, you'll see the targeted industries, and I don't think any of these will be a surprise to you. We have 5 broad clusters that we target. I won't read them all to you, but in addition to that, we are looking to refine our targeted subclusters to build existing regional strengths. So those include simulation and training, optics and photonics, gaming is a big one, human performance and training, and software and development. So while we have these clusters, we still continue to dig down and refine those clusters to ensure that we're targeting the right, subclusters. So Operation Laser Focus is our business development recruitment strategy. The red team, which is the regional economic development team, that includes the City of Orlando business development team, has been briefed on various elements of the strategy, and we will be doing individual one-on-one appointments with each of you to kind of dive deeper into what that does. But essentially, we continue to aggressively pursue new opportunities. Currently, we're seeing business migration to less densely populated, lower cost, lower tax, regulatory friendly environments. So we want to capture our share of those migrating businesses. We're redirecting our second account-based marketing campaign to target those geographic markets to see if we can address those concerns and get them here into our region. We are also targeting businesses growing as a response to COVID-19. We will be targeting the U.S. Space Force RFP, which we anticipate will come out shortly. And there's also anticipated reshoring of manufacturing due to different pieces of legislation. So we will be actively looking at that and targeting those companies and industries that make sense. And as mentioned before, we'll still be building on our regional strengths. So we're actively looking at the gaming community, the simulation and training community, semiconductors, digital health, human performance, and the targeted markets where we're seeing a lot of interest of companies looking to perhaps relocate. We are targeting New York, New Jersey, Chicago, California, specifically San Francisco, San Diego, and Los Angeles, and then Boston, Oregon, and Minnesota. Oh no, I'm almost out of time. Okay, so site evaluation, we continue to identify and evaluate industrial sites in the Orlando region for development or redevelopment. This program considers sites located in opportunity zones and underserved communities, and that is a partnership that we have with Duke Energy. You probably don't need a lot more information on the Orlando Tech Council. The City of Orlando has been wonderful in partnering there and helping us really recruit both, startups and the growth of our tech economy. And lastly, almost lastly, the Orlando Transportation Report was approved early last year. These are 7 priorities for the community. We will be aggressively going after some of these federal dollars. There's, several trillion going around from what I hear, but we have hired federal consultants to help and bring those dollars here. Let's look at transit. Let's really get a sustainable transit system in Orlando, and let's finish beyond the ultimate. And then lastly, our prosperity scorecard. I just encourage you guys to look at our prosperity scorecard. There's 43 indicators there about how our community is doing and where we need to improve. So with that, I'm also happy to answer any questions, and I'm so sorry. I thought I was going to go less. You did get the B team.
You're pretty close. For you or anybody, remaining presenters, we'll let you go over if you need a little extra time. Okay, questions, Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a great presentation, but I think I'm going to give you the liberty, if it's okay with council, for you to talk more about the equity and inclusion component initiative. I thought it was fabulous. Thank your group for reaching out and working with me and bringing me up to speed with that. I know it was after George Floyd when many of the corporations wanted to put that component in there, and I think it'll be great briefly to explain and talk about the great work that you're doing over there with that piece.
Oh, sure, and I appreciate that. And again, I'm happy to do a deeper dive with any of you individually. But first is our pledge. So our companies at the Orlando Economic Partnership, I think we have more than 150 companies that have signed on, and there are very specific markers. I don't have them in front of me, but it's basically about how they're going to change their hiring practices or what they're going to do within their own organizations. And while we're not going to have a report card that says, you did well and you did poorly. We're going to be, announcing changes and wins that are happening throughout our membership to ensure that we're making strides within our business community. And then we also have a number of recommended advocacy efforts. I was so proud to say that many of the points that our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force wanted to see, the City of Orlando has already implemented. Tallahassee passed some great legislation, but once again, these are things that are already happening here in the city, but it is helpful from a regional perspective as we look at other agencies and governments. And so what was really eye-opening and nice is to see how far ahead the City of Orlando already was and is with a lot of these efforts, but where there are changes to be made, we've got that partnership and we've got this task force that will continually be meeting and making recommendations.
Thank you.
I hadn't actually noticed any great legislation that came out of Tallahassee, so you have to update.
It was one piece. Well, you were already there, so.
Thank you, Sharon. Our next speaker is from UCF Incubator. He wears many hats, and today it's UCF's. Rob Panapento. He's the Director of Strategy and Partnerships for the UCF Innovation Districts and Business Incubation System. Rob is also involved in several other entrepreneurial high-wage growth initiatives that the city is engaged in, including being a co-founder of the Raleigh Social Enterprise Accelerator, which we are a funding partner, and a board member of both Starters. welcome.
Thanks. Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for having me here today. And I would like to say, because I do get to wear some of these hats, how much I actually do appreciate, not just behalf of my role at UCF, but my other roles as well, how easy it is to work with the city on these issues. For several of these initiatives, the first conversations I have are often with the city, who has not only been willing to do ongoing support, but often has been the first engaged in a lot of these initiatives as we look to diversify and grow jobs. So I just want you to know how appreciative for all the organizations that I happen to be involved in, just for the leadership and innovation and how you guys look at this space. You're wonderful partners to work with, and get to work with a lot of different governments. So I genuinely appreciate the support you've given, certainly at UCF, but across a wide spectrum of opportunities. But specifically at UCF, the incubator, for those of you who may not be as familiar. So we've been doing this for 21 years now. And while most folks sometimes confuse and think it's the incubator for students or faculty, I really view it in many ways as the community's external economic development incubator, because most of our companies actually do not have direct UCF ties. Some may be alumni, some may have been a student, some may be faculty, but I would say probably 70% of the companies have no ties to UCF whatsoever. We have 7 incubators now around the regions, 3 of which are in the city footprint. Obviously, we have one that we recently launched here in downtown, which I'll talk a little bit more about. We have one in Lake Nona, and then we have our oldest incubator in the city is in Colonial Drive, right across the street from Jerry and the NEC. The other thing we did about 2.5 years ago is we evolved the incubator into really 2 separate and broad strategies that have allowed us to expand the types of entrepreneurs we can help, while also be very supportive of the community's initiative to grow more innovative, high-wage jobs, a lot of what Sharon just talked about. So we kind of moved the incubators into 2 camps. One, what we call our regional growth centers, and one our innovation districts. The regional growth centers, of which the East Colonial Incubator is one of those, is designed to help a very broad base of small businesses and entrepreneurs that are growing their businesses. The innovation districts, of which again there are 3, 2 of which, as I said, are in the city, the third being the one in Research Park, are designed to help companies that are in some very specific vertical clusters. And it's no surprise they're really the same clusters that Sharon talked about. We design these clusters around where we want the growth to be in the community going forward, and also the ones that leverage the resources of the university. You'll find that all of these incubators are also closely tied to where we actually have a physical campus. So in Lake Nona, we have our medical school, focus on life sciences. Here in downtown, with the opening of our new campus, we focus on digital media, hospitality tech, fintech. At Research Park, you'll see more of our defense-related types of opportunities, photonics, simulation. But again, all designed around these companies that we hope can create the jobs of tomorrow, hopefully can be the luminaries in our community going forward. However, companies that are not in that footprint, say they're at East Colonial or in our Winter Springs incubator, that might be housed there, but are in those verticals, we do allow them to access the virtual programming of our innovation districts while still staying in their location. So while it's centered in these three locations, it really is a broad-based program across the entire community. The other thing we did last year in response to COVID is we expanded some of our program to be able to help more entrepreneurs and also give them more of an onboarding into the incubator. So we started an 8-week boot camp called our Business Modeling Camp that allows us, again, to help much smaller businesses, a much wider geographic and diverse mix of entrepreneurs that also hopefully become a feeding ground for them to move into our system. We additionally launched a program called our Traction Program, which is kind of like an NBA development league or almost a minor league baseball team, where these are the companies that we think could grow to be in the incubator but need a little more seasoning. So we'll put them in our program for a year. We tested that downtown last year. We brought 4 companies in, again, a very diverse group. 3 of the 4 companies in there were either women or minority led. I'm happy to say that 2 of those companies will be moving into the core incubator program. And a third, one of the reasons they're not going into it is they raised some external capital and frankly don't need us, which is great. I'm happy not to help folks who don't need the help. Our growth program is our traditional incubator program where companies will stay anywhere from 18 months to 3 years. And then the fourth program is a little known, we don't talk about it, but it's called the Soft Landing Program. And basically these are companies that want to test the water in coming to Orlando and coming to our region and seeing if they want to grow here. But we get support from both the city and the county to do that. In a second, I'll talk to you about a very big success story we recently had in that soft landing program. So here are the numbers specifically for the city of Orlando. I will tell you these numbers are almost a year old now because we do these metrics from July 1st to June 30th. So if you have me here in a month, I can give you some updated numbers. But here you see the number of clients, the revenue generated, and the average number of employees across the spectrum. But what I'd really like to do is talk about three of our stories, because they're actually not even reflected in these numbers, and in some cases will double or triple some of the results we've had just over this last year. And I want to talk about one in each of our locations. So Protein Diagnostics is down in Lake Nona. Jim, I don't know if you've actually had a chance to meet the entrepreneur down there. He is a USF researcher. Developed this technology for a new way of looking at cancer treatment and really cancer testing and diagnostics, with a real focus on getting these into community cancer centers across the country, which normally don't have access to this type of testing. You'd only get this at a Mayo Clinic or a real high-end cancer. He started the business in Tampa. For some reason, the University of South Florida, where he developed the technology, had some concerns about him commercializing it. He had to leave the region. Came here. This started as a soft landing program. He tested the water. He's now moved his corporate headquarters here. 14 of his 20 employees are in Orlando. All of his growth will be in Orlando. He is now, which has made the Tavistock folks very, very happy, has expanded beyond the lab he took at the incubator and has now taken additional space in Lake Nona. The county actually highlighted this company in their State of the County presentation. This should really be a significant growth story for Lake Nona and our community. And again, the type of businesses that the incubator is designed to support. In downtown, COVID was interesting, right? It affected businesses in different ways. Here's a great example of a company that pivoted when it saw what was happening with COVID. So Viewstub has been around for several years. They're a company that was originally designed to help if you've got a conference that might only accept 100 people, but there are 150 people who want to come. They would set up the virtual capability to join the program, which allows the conference or the convention to generate more revenue. Kind of an interesting concept before COVID, a really important concept during COVID when everything went virtual. So they had a banner year last year. I think went from 3 employees to 21. They were one of our first clients in the incubator. They're graduating, or they'll be graduating very shortly. So to have a graduate of the downtown incubator already is a huge success story for our community and the incubator. And I've already talked to Sherry. They're looking for space downtown. I think they've just about to close on some additional capital as well. So again, this should be another local success story that hopefully we'll be talking about for the months to come. And then in our East Colonial incubator, this is a company that's been with us now for 4 years. It's a certified small business, women-owned company, and she built her business providing interpretation and translation services largely to local governments. And Mike Weiss, who runs that site for us, has given her great mentorship, helped them grow. And just in this last year, they pivoted into partnering with a technology company that allows them to vastly expand, because part of their challenge has been they've got to find a trained translator, and in certain languages it's difficult to find. So scaling people-based businesses is very difficult. So they've partnered with a technology company that they expect will allow them to dramatically scale at a much faster pace. I wouldn't be surprised if this company graduates from the incubator as well. But you get a sense for the diverse type of client base that we actually support through the different incubators and through these different programs. So 2021 was an interesting year. People often ask me about our sites. In Research Park in Lake Nona, because we have very specialized space there, we basically had 100% in-person occupancy almost throughout the pandemic. Downtown and some of our other locations were definitely more of a challenge. We are in the process now of reopening. I actually hope to be able to make an announcement soon about an exciting new location for our downtown incubator, which I've been talking to Sherry about. So we are obviously committed to being downtown and growing downtown. And we're excited to start to really welcome folks back, particularly into our downtown incubator. So We thank you for the historical support you provided to UCF, not just for this program, but across many others as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Rob, thank you for the presentation. You know, sometimes we take for granted some of the great things that we have going on in our community, and certainly we take for granted, I think, that UCF has this great incubator system that's been recognized nationally as, if not the best, one of the very best in the entire country. So many of the things that we do well, and we expect to do well, but we ought to appreciate them, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. I totally agree. It's amazing what you all do at the Incubator. And so I'm going to be a little selfish here. Something I've been asking for and working on is a small incubator in the Paramore area. When we had a little small when we started off, but when we brought the campus, it dissipated.
Yeah.
And so there's a void there. And hopefully, is there an appetite for UCF to work with the city to help us recreate a incubator there in the Paramore area for small businesses?
Tricia, I think we're always open to those discussions. Now, that was a Starter Studio initiative, but I'm on the board of Starter, so I'm certainly very familiar with it, and I think there probably are some lessons learned there that we could look at. I will tell you, in the meantime, particularly in our downtown area, we're trying to make sure we build those outreaches. And again, I'm certainly open to any help you can provide in connecting us with entrepreneurs there. We've been working very extensively with Mike Felix from Orlando Black Tech in trying to identify some entrepreneurs in that area. So we're completely open to anything, whether it's physical space or just having more access to folks to drive them to our existing downtown
I'm more
location.
so thinking physical space in Paramore and having small minority businesses there to be groomed. Like Jerry stated, that what COVID showed us, that there was a need to develop these small, especially minority and African American businesses, and with the expertise that you all do. And I know I've been speaking with Mayor, and he's in support of it. And also Thomas, with CRA funding to try to locate a building there and see if you all can help us groom and grow our business.
I think we're always open to those
So
discussions.
I would love to continue that dialogue, Sherry, as we talk about the downtown incubator, which is in my district, but one more so key towards that mom and pop businesses, and then to grow them. Thank you, Rob. Great presentation.
No, you're welcome.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Sherry.
Commissioner, I'll get with Rob and discuss that a little bit further with him.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dwayne Lewis with BBIF. He's the Chief Operating Officer. He leads internal operations and provides strategic leadership to ensure BBIF continues to execute its business plan and fulfills its mission to provide flexible, affordable, responsible financing, management, consulting, and technical assistance for Black, minority, and underserved businesses. So with that, Dwayne, welcome up. Here, let's do this. There you go. Just that.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you guys for having me here. First off, we appreciate all of the wonderful support that we've received from the City of Orlando in the history past, and we look forward to continuing our relationship moving forward. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about BBIF, who we are, what we do, and how we help entrepreneurs. And so we'll start a little bit about our mission. As Sherry mentioned earlier, we are here to support underserved business community. And we know historically African American businesses have been underserved. And so our mission is to develop and promote Black business enterprises through education, training, loans, investments, and other activities, and aggressively promote an atmosphere conducive to their development. We've been around for about 33 plus years in the community. We are very much an accountable, transparent organization. We are a community development financial institution, and as such, we get audit businesses. And so, in addition to providing them capital, we also bring those resources to them to help improve the management of their businesses so that they can improve and grow. What you see here is a little bit of a snapshot of our impact. We've hosted over 389 roundtables, over 72 community events, provided more than over 223 business loans, which for a total lending of $13.185 million, and this is for our fiscal year ending 2020. Some historical impact information. We provided well over 600 business loans. Historically, over $60 million direct loans that we've provided with a historical loan loss rate of less than 4%, which is pretty amazing seeing how we work with very high-risk businesses. Created over 14,000 jobs. From a new markets tax credit standpoint, we have been awarded over $94 million in tax credit and tax credits. We've created loan pools through those tax credit programs, and we've dispersed $12 million through those loan pools directly to business. Been able to leverage those $94 million to the tune of $140 million in leveraged investments, which has created and retained over 1,600 jobs through our new markets tax credit program. As everyone has talked about earlier, 2020 was a very chaotic year for all of us as we've had to endure the pandemic. And so as an organization, we had to shift our focus. And one of the ways we did that was we were one of the only non-bank lenders in the state of Florida to participate in the Paycheck Protection program. This vital program, we were able to provide over 484 loans, totaling a little bit over $14 million directly to businesses to help them to sustain their employees and keep them employed. Over 89% of all of the recipients of those funds were ethnic minorities. We were able to disperse funds throughout the state of Florida while maintaining and creating over 2,400 jobs. Specifically, within the city of Orlando, we provided over 82 loans for over $4 million, and we were able to sustain and create 638 jobs. Right here we have one of our clients. We call it a success story because this is a typical entrepreneur and an example of how our organization really helps the local entrepreneurs. This business is located in District 6 called Hair in Motion. The owner is Leslie Poe. She has been in business for well over 20 years in New York and in Florida. And we've been able to help her to move from a very small shop on the corner of OBT and Colonial to moving into a very nice facility over in District 6 off of Hiawassee. And not only that, but we've also helped her to open 3 more facilities on top of that. She's also a client that we've worked with through our financial management training, and we've helped her to understand how to improve and manage her business efficiently. She recently opened a beauty school over in the Longwood area this year. We want to highlight some of our projects. I talked to you about some of the different loan pools and how we utilize the New Market Tax Credit Program. And these are 3 examples of how this program works. We were able to provide financing into the Boys and Girls Club, the newest Boys and Girls Club, located over there in the, which is called the Jack Lee Bradley.
Extra 5.
Yes, District 5. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. West Lakes Community. I apologize for that. As well as another business, I believe, in District 5, Guardian Care, and another organization called Central Christian University. We were helping them to obtain their property and do some renovations there. And so these are examples of how we're able to take these tax credits and invest them into projects that invest into the local communities. Additionally, what you see here is another client, Grassland Electrical, an example of an electrical company that we've helped throughout the years to provide capital, to obtain contracts to help move their business. Would like for each of you guys to see our contacts here. If anyone's interested, you can go to our website. Here's our phone number. You have our email addresses. And again, we thank you for the opportunity to present today and to continue our longstanding relationship with the City of Orlando.
Thank you, Dwayne. Great presentation. Questions, comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Prospera is our next presenter. Katya Medina was named Vice President for the Central Florida region of Prospera in March of 2021. She has occupied a variety of roles at Prospera, which has helped her to become a well-rounded leader. Katya joined the Economic Development Nonprofit Organization in 2014 as a business development consultant. In that role, she was responsible for providing consulting and a wide range of assistance to Hispanic entrepreneurs. So with that, Katya.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Mayor. Thank you for the opportunity for having us here today, and thank you for your continued support. I would like to provide you with a quick overview about who we are. Prospera, we are one of the nation's leading nonprofit economic development organizations specialized in bilingual assistance to help Hispanic-owned businesses grow and prosper. We offer a unique and versatile business model to empower new and established Hispanic entrepreneurs with expertise and resources. And one of the unique things our organization have is that we were created by a Hispanic entrepreneur who understood the common paradigms and barriers to succeed among both U.S. and foreign born Hispanics. And we have main offices in Florida Central, South, and West Coast regions, and Charlotte, North Carolina. And we are very excited because this year our organization celebrates its 30th anniversary since we were founded in Tampa, and 26 years here in Central Florida. Our mission is to help start, sustain, and grow Hispanic-owned businesses to achieve community prosperity, and we carry it out through 4 lines of services: business seminars, individual business consulting, access to capital, and business grant for services. In terms of our impact and results for the last fiscal year, 1,138 participants attended to our business seminars. We provided business consulting to 609 unique clients from idea to growth stage. We created or retained 806 jobs among clients with established businesses, and we were able to market 4.7 million in loans for small business, and that's including COVID-19 loans and grants. For the current fiscal year, we are about to finish our third quarter. Per the report submitted to the City of Orlando, for the first 2 quarters, we have met and exceeded all our agreement goals. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we were able to adapt quickly and to continue serving our clients when they needed our services the most. And as Jerry mentioned it earlier today, we switched to remote operations on March 16 of 2020 with virtual individual consulting and seminars without closing a single day. We provided individual consulting to 22.5% more clients than the previous fiscal year. We marketed nearly 5 times the number of applications to access capital for Hispanic-owned small businesses, and that including the COVID-19 loans and grants. And we were able to assist Orange County with the Orange County CARES business grant applications, reviewing and providing technical assistance to 1,250 small businesses during that time. We raised funds from other public and private funders to leverage the contribution of City of Orlando. On this slide, you can see all our Central Florida's annual investors. And next, I would like to share with you a client testimonial from a City of Orlando client, Mr. Araujo, owner of Samantha's Wall. Mr. Araujo and his wife, owners of Samantha's Wall, are Venezuelan immigrants. They are in the construction industry. They provide painting services specialized in artistic accent walls. Since contacting Prospera in 2018, they have received ongoing business consulting and grants for a business plan, a marketing plan, an accounting assessment, and QuickBooks training and setup. They also have participated in educational business seminars and advanced training for minority certification candidates. I don't see the video here. Yep.
We may have to skip that.
Having some technical issues, I'm sorry.
It may be. The video is not in there anymore, in the presentation.
I think it's further down.
And that's strange. There we go.
You want to play it now?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Jesus Araujo, and I'm the owner of Samantha's Walls, a painting company in the Central Florida area. Our company started in 2017, and in 2018 we reached out to Prospera to help us grow our business. Prospera, through their tools and grants, helped us get to where we are today. They gave us the business plans grant, they gave us the marketing plan, they gave us accounting services plan and grants. And it was just because of their funders who believe in their vision and their mission that they can make this a reality for a small business like mine.
Okay. Thank you. They are specifically located in Lake Nona. They not only started their business with Prospera, but they also continue receiving ongoing assistance from us. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for your support. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on your elevation to Vice President.
Thank you.
Questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, give me a second to get the tech back where I need to. I'm old. I need your help. I'm too old for this. There you go. Yep. Okay, perfect. So our final presenter of the day is Starter Studio and Lillian Myers. Lillian was named the executive director at Starter Studio in November of 2019, and she has worked for over 25 years in the technology space, both on the private and public side. Lillian also coached and mentored startups as an associate director at the UCF Venture Lab. Lillian is chair of the Orlando Tech Council and a staunch supporter of tech founders and the opportunities that tech startups create for local economies. So, Lillian?
Oops. Thank you, Sherry. And thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners. I want to say, first of all, what a delight it is to be here with you. I can't tell you how much we appreciate all the commitment and ongoing work that you do to support Starter Studio, which is, many of you may be familiar, is a 6-year-old organization, a nonprofit that's based here downtown in the Exchange Building and does incredible work in supporting starters in the technology field of all types. And you actually got to hear a little bit about the downtown Orlando Incubator, which is co-located with us in the Exchange Building today. We have a lot of new exciting things that you'll be hearing about soon, but you'll also see that we have lots and lots of new relationships that are coming up. So one of the companies that you heard about, Viewstub, is one that came through one of Starter Studio's programs. So we see this beautiful virtuous circle, and we're actually going to show you a story live and in person today. We thank you. We thank some of our board members and supporters who are here today. Listen, would everybody who's here today for Starter Studio just stand up for a minute? And so I can say thank you. Board members, staff, and entrepreneurs and funders. So many of these are faces you know. Thank you all. We get incredible support from all sorts of organizations to do the work that we do. And I'm going to say a bit about 2020 and COVID and what it meant to us, because it was different. Many of you think about Starter Studio as a location, a place. It's been a place for entrepreneurs to come together and convene on meetups and new topics, and where we've held classes for years and years. But what we found with COVID was we actually got benefit from it in getting narrowly focused on our core, our real mission, which is to help grow and improve the opportunities for early stage tech companies. From the idea stage and boot camps, all the way through a new program of building companies, as sort of a mid-tier, how do you build a sustainable company that might be bootstrapped rather than seeking investment capital, to our seed stage accelerator, which has been the basis for a lot of really great companies that you've seen in this environment. Fat Merchant came through our idea stage accelerator almost 5.5 years ago. Today they're called Stacks, which is one of the great success stories of Starter Studio that you have all seen and been made aware of, and many others like Viewstub you'll see there as well. The Evergreen Seed Fund, I want to focus on this specifically because it really is all about the city of Orlando. It is the city of Orlando that funds that. So each year, as you contribute to what is a little bit of money that we give to seed stage companies that come through our programs to prepare them for going out and getting investment capital from outside funders, your little bit of money helps them to be validated as companies worthy of outside capital investment. And we're going to get to tell you a story about that today. What I want to show you in the chart that has a little bit of a formatting problem there is how much we have grown and how much investment has been made out of that seed fund in companies through time. The numbers you see are the numbers of programs we've delivered. In the early years, 2013, 14, and 15, that was only idea stage cohorts. Those were those who thought they had a good idea. We're going to give them the tools and the understanding about how to validate that idea before they spend a lot of time and energy on trying to do something that might not be valid in the world, that might not have real legs. So this is an important stage, and as I said, this is where Fat Merchant came through. More interesting about that is that the co-founder in Fat Merchant was also in that same cohort and ended up putting away their idea and joining Sunira Madhani to become her co-founder in that business. He got enthusiastic about that and recognized that he didn't have something in what he was trying to do, and joined her, and together they built a phenomenal company. Those are the kinds of things that happen with starter studio companies. The idea that they begin to build, that people begin to build a collegial environment around what they're doing and who they're after and how they're going to get to market. We have stories of many of our starters who continue to maintain a relationship with one another long after they have left our programs, that helps them continue to share ideas and move forward and grow. In 2016, we added the seed stage program, and that year did just one. The following year, one as well. But through those single seed stage programs and the investment that came from you, we were able then to commit $125,000 each of those years in seed stage companies that qualified for that funding as they came out of our program. In 2018 and 2019, we only did one of each cohort. But in 2020, we were able to grow and add back a second idea stage entirely virtually, a build stage cohort for the first time, which was entirely virtual, and a seed stage cohort, again, entirely virtual. We expect that this year we have already produced 3 cohorts in the idea stage. We have 2 more coming up. We have produced 1 build stage and have another coming up, and our seed cohort is currently being vetted for applicants. We had 13 applicants in our seed stage program, which was a record number. So we are ramping that up for this year, and next year it could be even greater than that. But I think the most important thing for us to get across here is that these programs actually are representative of the kinds of entrepreneurs who are interested in building technology companies in our community that represent our community. They are all of us. We have, in fact, our first cohort of this year was 82% diverse. And when we talk about diversity, we really are covering the waterfront here. We are looking at minorities, LGBTQ, first-generation Americans, immigrants, veterans, and active military. So the variety of people who come through these programs is tremendous, and we're very, very proud to report that we are driving into the technology field many great companies that are founded by people of very, very diverse backgrounds. We are also able to measure impacts through a grant from and the work of EY. Last year, we delivered our very first impact report, and we're in the process of building our 2020 impact report right now. But what's amazing about this is that over the course of the years that we have been here, we have put more than 170 companies through these programs and have a less than 20% that no longer exist. So there's a great record of sustainability of these companies, of them getting through the process and really moving forward. They are also getting funding. They're building jobs, and they're growing jobs around them. So the impacts for Starter Studio are not just in the programs themselves and in the companies that come through, but also in the companies that surround them. So when we look at a alumni report that was through early 2020, the first quarter of 2020, and saw that we had $33 million of cumulative funding for all of those companies as a result of them moving through these programs and getting out into the wider world and getting additional funding. We're also seeing that the annual income of those, if you look at the bottom chart, of those that are supporting those companies, has an impact of more than $50 million. So we're very, very proud of the work that we do. And I think the most important illustration of this that I can give you is this one. We've got your funding right at the top in terms of our seed fund that provides funding for qualified companies out of a seed cohort last year. Brian Young from Home Lending Pal. Brian? From Home Lending Pal. Why don't you come on up and we'll tell the story together. Brian Young from Home Lending Pal was a part of that seed cohort. We invested in him $25,000 of your funding. We were given another grant that you provided through OEP to do the one and only live tech event that happened in Orlando last year, and that was our drive-in pitch night. Brian was one of those who pitched in that event, and he met, as a process of that, Charlie Lewis, who runs Project Orlando and an investment club. Brian not only won the People's Choice Award in that drive-in pitch night, which was pretty fantastic, but he also won the interest of Charlie and his investment group, who made $625,000 investment in Brian and in his company, Home Lending Pal, as his first round of funding. But he has now closed the second round, and he's at $3.5 million. So. And what you see there is a feature on him in Forbes just last month. So we are so, so proud of the work that we do. I can't thank you enough for all that you do to support this. And if you have questions, Brian's going to answer them.
One way to close.
Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about your company, Brian?
Yes. So I have a vision that when it comes to buying a home, if you digitize the process, it'll make it more financially inclusive for all, really turning it into an Amazon-like shopping experience that is, valuable for everyone. When I met Lillian in February of last year, I was in Miami and I was spending a lot of time here in Orlando at the lovely VA Center in Lake Nona. And I told Lillian that I was originally looking just for networking opportunities because I really wanted to build this company. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but African Americans, Latinos, and women founders raise less than $1 million. Less than 1% of the total demographic is capable of doing that. And Lillian said, give us a shot. Come to Orlando and try. So by April of last year, I had moved to my mom's couch. I was focused full time on my company and building it. And I was traveling in a pandemic to try to build clientele and really show a use case for this. As Lillian mentioned, in December 31st, we closed our first round of investment from the lovely Charlie Lewis and his group. And in January, I did what no entrepreneur should do. I reached out to Charlie and I said, I don't want to focus on revenue right now. I have some inside information that I think would be valuable for us. And what ended up happening is we found out that the Biden administration and the CFPB are really focusing on closing the home ownership gap. And what we have presented to them is really a great use case of anonymizing data and allowing users to be validated in a way that allows them to secure a home before they actually disclose their age, sex, race, or anything like that. As Lillian mentioned, we are currently closing up our next round of funding, and the Orlando group has come in again. To date, they've put a little bit over $1 million into my company, and in total, we've raised $3.5 million now to go pursue home ownership for millennials and minorities.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Questions or comments? Commissioner Hill.
Well, I don't know how this would work, but I know Mayor Dyer and this council are big on home ownership, especially here in the city of Orlando when we talk about affordable home ownership. And through Mayor Dyer's leadership, we're proposed, I know Rob is big with affordable housing. Thank you for your work in that space. Another 45 single-family homes there in the Paramore area. And I know Commissioner Ortiz is huge on affordable single-family home ownership. So I'd like to hear more about it, Mayor Dyer, if we can, about, everything's RFP, no guarantee. But, at least I would love to hear more about how you work in that space when it comes to creating actual minority wealth. Okay. Because we know that's the only way we can talk about Latino or African-American wealth is through home ownership. So thank you for taking the lead in that space.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
And Commissioner, we could set up a briefing too, if you like. And that ends our presentation today. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it. These 6 partners are so important for our local economy. From an investment perspective, we invest a little under $2 million to these organizations on an annual basis, and I think you can see the fruits of our labor have paid off. So I'm open to any questions you may have.
Just thank you to all of the presenters. We appreciate you being here. It's extremely informative, and I'm proud of all the work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a 2-minute break, so those of you who don't want to stay for agenda review can exit.
Orange TV, your government in action. When you need information or just need a helping hand. When art and culture matter. When you need to know. When getting back to nature. When safety matters. Bringing our community closer. Your government in action. Orange TV.
As Central Florida continues to reopen, doing your part matters. For the safety and protection of everyone's health, we all have a hand in doing our part. That means our businesses and consumers are following the safety protocols by wearing masks, washing hands, and practicing social distancing. Let's sustain that sense of community, because here in Central Florida, during good times and hard times, our sense of community makes us stronger. Let's stick to the guidelines. That way we are all safer and stronger together. Learn more at doyourpartorl.com.
Is a bunch of neighbors coming together, committed to purchasing solar for a group discount. And sometimes they can get 20 to 30% savings on their solar system.
It's a greener way to keep our house cool and to live here in Florida.
No brainer. I mean, it certainly made sense all the way around, from the planet aspect to the financial aspect to the idea of having power when a hurricane comes through.
Hard to understand why everybody doesn't do it, frankly.
Just take the plunge and go solar.
Did you know drowning prevention is a family activity? Swim lessons for parents and toddlers are a first step toward water safety.
We are getting high-quality swimming lessons.
Having high-quality swim lessons is just one thing you can do to make sure there's not one more Florida. To find out more, contact the Central Florida Water Safety Task Force.
Yeah, you need to be careful around the tracks.
Whoa, did you see that squirrel?
I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous.
When it rains, nitrogen from your fertilizer washes from your yard and ends up in the Floridan aquifer, the source of springs water. Keeping nitrogen out of our waters is the best way to fight algae. Here's how. Skip the nitrogen fertilizer during the summer rainy season. In spring and fall, use fertilizer with at least 65% slow release. Plant a spring-friendly yard with Florida-friendly plants. Keep our lakes, rivers, and springs clean for boating, fishing, and swimming, and safe for the otters, turtles, and fish that call them home. Learn more at myyardmysprings.org.
International Drive. Before the pandemic, thousands upon thousands flocked here for meetings and events, and area businesses benefited tremendously. Of course, since they have suffered. One such company, Original Orlando Tours, they are ready and eager for travelers to once again come back in earnest to the heart of iDrive. On a sunny day along a red brick road, you might not realize you're just a few miles.